This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 16th day of June in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. The chairperson of the Guyana Elections Commission has formally requested the Chief Elections Officer to prepare his report to ascertain the results of the elections, in keeping with the election order and the vote recount order. The report will show the People's Progressive Party emerging with the highest number of votes, and its presidential candidate Irfan Ali being declared the next president of Guyana. In a statement this afternoon, the Guyana Elections Commission said the decision came after considerable deliberations at the Commission on the report submitted by the Chief Elections Officer on the national recount of votes. In her decision, the GECOM chairperson said the Elections Commission does not have the powers of a court of law to examine and re-examine witnesses or to procure official documents to determine the truth of the allegations contained made during the recount of ballots. She said she's of the opinion that some of the allegations are of a serious nature and must be addressed, but the Constitution confers on the High Court the exclusive jurisdiction to determine the validity of an election. The GECOM chair also explained that in order to give itself the authority to conduct the national recount, GECOM resorted to Article 162(1)(b) of the Constitution to take such action as appear necessary or expedient to ensure impartiality and fairness. She said in that regard, GECOM could not have thereby clothed itself with jurisdiction to establish itself as a court of law to determine the credibility of an election, when Article 163(1) stipulates that the High Court shall have exclusive jurisdiction to determine the legality of an election. Justice Singh also noted that the Commission cannot arrogate onto itself a jurisdiction to annul an election, since no specific power was conferred on it under the Constitution to do such. The Chief Elections Officer is expected to prepare his report soon, and once that report is submitted, it will clear the way for Irfan Ali to be officially declared as the next president of Guyana, and the stage set for his official swearing in. More news coming up in just a moment.
Parents and guardians, you are encouraged to tune in to the Guyana Learning Channel, Cable 29 or Channel 42 for daily educational and interactive learning sessions. The nursery program airs from 6 hours to 9 hours. Primary programs from 9 hours to 12 noon. We also air informative documentaries from 12 noon to 13 hours, and our secondary level programs are aired from 13 hours to 15 hours. Please continue to listen to our radio broadcasts. The interactive radio instruction for grades 1 to 3 daily on Voice of Guyana from 9 hours 30 to 10 hours for grade 1 pupils, from 10 hours 30 to 11 hours for grade 2s, and 13 hours to 13 hours 30 for grade 3 pupils. Please remember to tune in to benefit from these educational opportunities. A message from the Ministry of Education.
We all want to stay in touch, right? Now, even more than ever before. So to keep your connection strong, GTT is going 2 for 2. Combine GTT mobile and home internet services and we'll give you 2 gigs of free mobile data each month. With 2 GTT services, you're fully connected at home and on the go. Visit us online at gtt.co.gy/2for2 to learn more and start doing more with 2 for 2 from GTT. Stay safe, stay strong, Guyana. We're in this together.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
The following is an important message from the Ministry of Public Health. You can prevent the spread of the COVID-19 virus. If you have the following symptoms: coughing, fever, or difficulty breathing, please stay home. If you don't have these symptoms, then practice social distancing. Avoid crowds. When in a group, keep a distance of at least 3 feet between yourself and other persons. Please wash your hands with soap regularly or use hand sanitizers. The Ministry of Public Health has a hotline to provide information on the coronavirus. Members of the public can call 227-4986 or 624-3067.
Welcome back. The APNU-AFC nominated commissioners on the Guyana Elections Commission have expressed their disappointment with the decision of the chairperson of the Elections Commission to request the chief elections officer to prepare his final report using the tabulated figures from the vote recount. Commissioner Vincent Alexander said while he might not agree with the chairperson's decision, it is the current state of affairs.
Well, I'm not in agreement, but that's the fact of the matter.
Did you pronounce on the CEO's report, the observation report?
In a sense, what she said is that there is merit in what's in the report, but that notwithstanding the merit, it's a matter for petition rather than for the Commission to rule on. That's in essence what she said.
What would you suggest be the next course of action?
I'm a commissioner, and therefore for me as a commissioner, there is no next course of action.
On the issue of the irregularities that were noted during the recount of votes, Mr. Alexander said it is clear that the Commission has lots of work to do as it moves forward.
No, I think the Commission has a lot of work to do beyond today that is unrelated to the decision, that's related to the operation of the Commission. I do feel so.
Commissioner Charles Corbin said the chairperson indicated that the issues raised about anomalies during the vote recount were very significant, but they would have to be taken before the court and not before the Elections Commission.
Well, what is significant is that the chairman has acknowledged that the issues raised are significant. I think it was her disposition that rather than the Commission pronounce on those issues, that those issues should be taken to form the basis for an election petition, rather than the Commission making a pronouncement on them. That appeared to be, from what she indicated, to be her disposition. She did indicate that she will shortly reduce her comments to a document which I'm sure will clarify all of those matters.
During the vote recount, the APNU-AFC raised a number of issues about the conduct of the elections, which took place more than 3 months ago. Those issues range from votes allegedly being cast for dead persons to votes being cast for persons who were out of the country. The CARICOM high-level team, which observed the vote recount, noted in its report that while there were irregularities uncovered, those were not enough to thwart the will of the people. PPP-nominated Commissioner Says Gunaraj this afternoon said it is expected that a final report by the Chief Elections Officer will be completed soon and will pave the way for the declaration and swearing in of the President.
I think that the weight has been lifted off the shoulders of Guyanese as a whole. All of you, I'm sure, are anxious to have this done because it's obviously not an easy task. It has not been an easy task for us who have been deliberating and dealing with this for over 100 days. And I believe the anxiety of the nation ought now to be somewhat assuaged, and that I believe the tested patience of the nation also should bring some relief to it.
Based on the undeclared tabulations from the recount, the PPP won the elections by just over 15,000 votes. While describing the GECOM chairperson's decision in preparation of a declaration as convoluted, APNU-AFC Executive and Campaign Manager Joe Harmon said he expects any declaration coming out of the Elections Commission to be based solely on valid votes, in keeping with the vote recount order.
Based on the statement I heard made by the Chairman of the Elections Commission, that she is going to write the CEO of the Elections Commission, giving him specific directions with respect to what she would like to see in what is called a Section 96 report. A Section 96 report requires that the CEO and only the CEO submits a report to the chairman for her declaration on the valid votes that have been cast at an elections. So what I am still to see is what is going to be contained in this letter to the CEO.
Mr. Harmon said with all the work done during the vote recount, he would find it difficult to understand the GECOM not taking that work into consideration as the Chief Elections Officer prepares his report.
But in my view, the CEO cannot declare anything other than valid votes. And in his determination of what are valid votes, we would need to see those reports of the Chief Elections Officer reflected in the way those votes are tallied. So I believe that the chairman gave a very convoluted decision this afternoon, which still has to be interpreted, and I believe she herself recognized that and has actually said, I will give you, the CEO, further instructions in writing.
The APNU-AFC executive said no election in Guyana can be determined on the votes that are not valid, and the purpose of the recount was largely in part to determine the valid votes, as is covered in the recount order. Well, the Carter Center has become the latest international organization to welcome the report of the CARICOM high-level team, which observed the Guyana elections vote recount. In a statement today, the Atlanta-based Carter Center commended the Guyana Elections Commission on the completion of the recount and said it welcomed the CARICOM statement that despite minor flaws in the process, the recount results are acceptable and provide a basis for the declaration of results. The center said although it is disappointed that it was not allowed to return to Guyana to directly observe the recount, it is encouraged by CARICOM's largely positive report on the recount process. The Carter Center reminded that it had previously stated that while electoral preparations and voting and counting procedures met international standards, the March tabulation process for Region 4 generated results that were deemed by the Carter Center and other international and local observers as not credible. The Carter Center said all Guyanese need to prioritize efforts to strengthen Guyana's democratic institutions and advance constitutional reforms to move beyond the winner-takes-all system. The Carter Center was in Guyana for the 2nd of March elections, but left just after as the country and other countries started a lockdown to fight the coronavirus. When the center attempted to send representatives back for the recount, they were not allowed as the coronavirus lockdown remained in place. Well, the high-level CARICOM team, which scrutinized the Guyana vote recount, has recommended that there be a re-registration of all voters in Guyana before the next elections. The team said the re-registration should be a minimum condition of electoral reform in the country. Guyana had started a house-to-house registration exercise last year, but that was cut short to begin preparations for the elections. There have been complaints that the voters list was bloated and reports of votes being cast for dead persons and persons who were overseas on elections day. Although recognizing deficiencies and anomalies during the vote recount, the CARICOM team said the results are still acceptable. In offering recommendations, the three-member team said greater emphasis should also be placed on voter education, especially to the handling of ballot paper by presiding officers and citizens. The CARICOM team also believes there should be a full audit of the Guyana Elections Commission, and whichever party forms the next government should ensure that audit. According to the CARICOM team, there is the need for immediate rethinking of the structure of the Guyana Elections Commission, especially when it comes to the selection of commissioners. The 7-member Guyana Elections Commission is made up of a chairperson who is appointed on the agreement of the president and opposition leader, and 6 commissioners who are nominated by the government and the opposition. Stepping away from news about the elections for a bit, Guyana has recorded 12 new cases of the coronavirus, with one of those cases coming from the Region 2 area. It is the first case for that region. In his medical update today, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Shamdev Prasad, said the 12 cases were recorded in the past 24 hours from a total of 36 completed tests.
I wish to inform you that our COVID-19 cases continue to rise. It is unfortunate that I announce Region 2 has recorded its first case. We now have 8 out of 10 regions reporting COVID-19 cases. As of the 16th of June 2020, of the 36 tests conducted, we are reporting 12 new cases. This brings our total number of confirmed cases to 171 and the number of COVID-19 deaths remaining at 12.
It was revealed that the total number of recoveries remain at 99, with the total number of deaths still at 12. Dr. Prasad raised concern again about the mining communities, which have recorded the most new cases in the past few weeks.
We continue to call on our mining communities to recognize that you can only be safe if you always follow the guidelines of wearing a mask when you are in public, washing your hands as often as possible, and maintaining physical distancing.
The chief medical officer warned against any attempt by persons with symptoms of the coronavirus to self-medicate. He pleaded with those with symptoms to contact the COVID-19 hotline or visit the mobile testing sites around the country. Guyana is expected to start relaxing some of its health emergency measures later this week. However, the curfew is likely to remain in place. An announcement on the updated measures is expected to be made tomorrow. The Ethnic Relations Commission has announced that it has launched investigations into racist statements made by well-known social media commentator Mikel Rodriguez, known as the Guyanese critic. The ERC said it is investigating the video in which Rodriguez is heard making racially insensitive remarks against Guyanese of African descent and Christians, and even claiming in the video that Indians are known for drinking cow urine. The matter is currently being pursued by the investigative team of the Ethnic Relations Commission and is potentially harmful effects to ethnic harmony. Under Guyana's Racial Hostility Act, a person shall be guilty of an offense if he willingly excites or attempts to excite hostility or ill will against any section of the public, or against any person on the grounds of theirs or his race by means of words spoken by him in a public place, or spoken by him and transmitted for general reception by wireless telegraph or telegraphy. In the video, which remains on the Guyanese critic's Facebook page, critic could be heard repeatedly attacking Afro-Guyanese as a group that can't read and are afraid to open books. He also attacked the Christian community, accusing church leaders of having to read for Afro-Guyanese, and he mimicked how Indo-Guyanese speak and said they drink cow urine. The statements by Rodriguez led to widespread condemnation across social media, including from some of his followers. His statements have also triggered a boycott and has led to a Change.org petition to cancel Guyanese critic. That petition has already pulled in more than 10,000 requested signatures. And this morning, a number of persons turned up at the critic's house in protest of his actions.
We all know that Guyana has been plagued with an issue of racism since the beginning of our time, and I think in this day and age we need to come out together and stand up for what's right. And what's right is that we don't need someone like Critic to continue to have divisive rhetoric that he keeps on spewing, especially at this point in time. And it's unfortunate that he has such a wide platform that he can do that so easily. And there's a lot of talk about it comes from everyone. We get that racism is not just a problem that one race faces in Guyana. Racism is from all sides, but the issue that we have is that someone like him, of his caliber, of his standing, not to say he's anybody important, I'm talking about his Facebook reach, can use his platform and make such remarks, and actually he felt no way about it. He felt so comfortable doing that.
We cannot allow people like the Guyanese critics to continue to divide the nation, especially given the political situation that we're in presently. We don't need that. We don't want that. We don't want people like critics in our society. And yes, many of you are going to say, oh, but there are others too. Yes, there are others, but not everybody on social media have a following of 200 or something thousand people. And you under the life that are encouraging him and that are aching in arm, that have been enabling and supporting his behavior, his racial rants for the past 2 or 3 years that he has been on Facebook. You need to take a stand. We need to take a stand against racism. We need to say no to racism. We need to mute critics. Go to his Facebook page, press the unfollow button, give a bad review so it limits the amount of people that visit his page. We will not tolerate racism in Guyana under no circumstance. We should not encourage it, we should not enable it, and we should not support anybody that is a racist.
In a statement on his Facebook page, the Guyanese critic said his statements are being used out of its intended context by persons who seem bent on creating false narratives at a very sensitive time in the country. He said having seen the clips in isolation, he can understand how insensitive his comments appear, and for that, he would apologize. Across the region is coming up next.
Wondering how you can access free learning materials for your children? Parents and guardians, please visit the Ministry of Education's website at www.education.gov.gy to access textbooks, past papers, and practice tests to keep your child engaged in continuous learning. When you have accessed the site, go to the Students tab, wait for a second, and choose the appropriate option. You now have access to the resources you need. You are encouraged to take advantage of this opportunity as we strive to provide the best education for the nation's children. A message from the Ministry of Education.
They've made a positive impact on the heavy-duty transportation industry in Guyana since they've arrived. Guyanese are amazed at their power, durability, efficiency, and superior handling capabilities. These are brand new trucks, manufactured in partnership with German, Italian, and French companies. They have a powerful reputation for operating under very adverse Guyanese conditions and come with full after-sales service and spare parts. They're the most sought-after trucks today, with over 500 units in Guyana, and they're available in over 100 countries, including South America and the Caribbean. Be smart. Buy brand new ST Howo trucks today. Call 608-4998 and arrange for an inspection at ST Truck Guyana Incorporated, Block B, Public Road, Covenant, East Bank, Demerara.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Are you washing your hands correctly? Here are some tips on when and how to wash your hands. Step 1. Wet your hands with clean water. Step 2. Then apply soap. Step 3. For 10 to 15 seconds, lather your palms together. Always remember to pay attention to your fingers, especially your nails and tips. And don't forget the back and between your fingers. Step 4. Rinse hands with clean water for about 20 seconds. Step 5. Dry hands with a clean paper towel or tissue.
But when should you wash your hands? After using the toilet, before and after eating, preparing or handling uncooked food, after playing with pets or caring for animals, after sneezing and coughing or blowing your nose, before and after changing babies or caring for others.
Frequent hand washing or using a hand sanitizer with alcohol as an alternative will remove viruses and bacteria from your hands.
A message from the Ministry of Public Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Across the region right now, we begin in Antigua, where the Prime Minister Gaston Brown has hinted that the general elections constitutionally due in 2023 could be held as early as November next year, as he reacted to the decision by the main opposition, United Progressive Party, to name its first 4 candidates for the next elections. Predicting that his ruling Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party would improve on the 15 of the 17 seats it won at the 2018 snap election, Brown said that it would sweep all the seats. He said he was not shaken by the 4 candidates named so far by the UPP. In Latin America, Peru's economy sank by more than 40% year-on-year in April, its worst ever percentage drop in output amid a lockdown imposed to curb COVID-19. Mining dropped sharply in the country, one of the world's largest producers of copper, gold, and silver. The president of Peru called it the most serious crisis in the country's history. Despite sweeping measures, Peru has reported nearly 233,000 cases of the coronavirus and more than 6,500 deaths, the second highest numbers in South America after Brazil. Peru was one of the first in the region to impose a lockdown to stop the spread of the coronavirus, and the police and army were deployed to enforce it. But experts said the measures did not work properly because large number of people disrespected those efforts. And finally tonight, international news. The BBC reports that a cheap and widely available drug can help save the lives of patients seriously ill with the coronavirus. The low-dose steroid treatment dexamethasone is a major breakthrough in the fight against a deadly virus, UK experts have said. The drug is part of the world's biggest trial testing existing treatments to see if they also work for the coronavirus. It cut the risk of death by a third for patients on ventilators. For those on oxygen, it cut deaths by a fifth. The BBC said had the drug been used to treat patients in the UK from the start of the pandemic, up to 5,000 lives could have been saved. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.